Thanks. How's your
Yes.
son's arm?
Healed up?
Healed up?
Yeah, it turned out to be a
You're
hairline
live.
plate, so healed up pretty quick.
Good.
Yeah, about 2 weeks, luckily.
Good.
We are live. Call the meeting to order. The roll call, Geisler,
Here,
Risdale.
Here.
Nadevsky,
Here,
Craig. Here. Fulford. Yes. And. Bradenberg. Yes. Actually here. To approve the minutes from July 17th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from July 17th.
second.
Second. All right. First order of. Oh, I skipped public comment. Is there any public comment?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any about the marijuana zoning.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, first item of business is the 226 East Grand River Avenue property. I don't know if there's an, and they're not here to present.
I'm Paula's voice today. She was unable to make it. So
Excellent.
I have an update of 226.
Perfect.
So we've been talking with Josh, who's the gentleman that is wanting to purchase that building. The shipping business is by right in our zoning, and so that can go under administrative review with Paula whenever he's ready. And we talked to him. It's probably been a week and a half now. And I haven't heard anything official if he had bought the building, but I knew that he was going through the inspection and all the things that needed to be fixed before he put in his final offer, I think. The other two businesses and the second floor apartment, he will need to bring to the planning commission as it evolves. The pottery will be a special land use. I think that it was because of the kiln. It requires additional permission and like reading of the zoning laws that Winsburg has, if I understood correctly.
Wonder,
And talking with like the fire department about, I think like a potential need of a firewall and things like that. So that's the updates I have, that the shipping business would be good to go as soon as he purchased the building and renovates it enough that he would want to sell stuff out of it. The pottery would be a special land use, and then the other business, he doesn't know what it is as of right now, and then I think it'll be a little bit before apartments are ever put up because there's quite a bit of renovation that will need to be done.
Thank you for the update. And I guess we'll.
I got a quick question. There hasn't been a site plan or anything for that yet, right? No, okay.
So that's, I mean.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for, which I think that from what because he did stop by and we talked about it.
Okay.
Last month, but I think that basically he's waiting
so
to
he would,
submit that until they actually.
You're right, till they're right. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything on
he
it.
was looking to see if there was any big issues with doing it.
Yep.
Before spending any money.
Can't blame them.
No, can't. Films would be, but, okay.
I think it was an issue with residential being on top.
It always is. I mean, you always need
Yeah.
a firewall between business on the first floor and residential on the second floor. I mean, I should know. I've done, I had to do nothing. Just curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't need to give any blessing or anything at this point or further review until. like,
None to give.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion on 226 East Grand River? Cool. Moving on to planning and zoning consultation services.
You know about that?
I do not, I know about projects, but I don't know about planning and zoning funds.
So I believe that would be related to, I saw a note. And I think that it was the July meeting, that Preston Community Services is no longer able to provide consulting services to the city. And the city will be seeking a replacement, so,
That's all done.
well, then I think that takes care of that, as far as I can tell.
It was, not C2A, the other, company that we use.
It was someone who we'd worked
Yeah,
with
Mike.
before.
Yeah.
I remember that. I don't recall the gentleman's name, but it was who I think Waynesburg worked with before Preston.
Mike Preston Davis, Mike Preston, like. Yeah, hyphenated name. Remember Mike who used to come to these?
Yeah.
Him,
The
Right.
Daily Martin.
Daily,
Martin,
that's it. Mike Daily Martin, yes,
you should come to more of these.
yeah. Yeah. Hey, you want to join?
I was gonna say, we're gonna have a seat here.
Yeah, he works for, they're a surveying company and. It should be. It's all a done deal. It's.
So- Will it be Mike again?
It will be Mike.
Oh,
Mhm.
so,
That was why we went with him.
perfect.
Right.
All right. Lovely.
Yep.
Any other discussion on the consultation services? Beautiful. Moving on to projects.
This is more just an update of what is happening. I've begun the process of a grant. It's a public spaces, community places grant. So in short, it's a crowdfunding grant that MEDC, which is a state organization, would match. So if we were able to raise $10,000, they would match and give us $10,000. And we are doing focusing on public art downtown, specifically murals. And we just brought this to city council last month. So it's still in the very beginning stages of talking to people and where the mural will be placed and all those things. But on the horizon, and before the murals was an option, city council, we looked into a splash pad because it wasn't of interest, but it's too much money for this grant. If the project was more than $100,000, you already had to have funds to fill the gap, and a splash pad was a little bit over, I think, 300,000. So it was just too expensive for the grant. But still, I think on the back burner, if a different grant opportunity comes up. And then additionally, because Lanesburg is a redevelopment ready community, they have access to some technical assistant funds that we will be applying for at the very beginning of October. And I think applying is not a generous word, but it's like already Lanesburg's money, so we just need to have the project approved by MEDC and then we get the money. And we are seeking out professional services. I think we're gonna start with a marketing strategy of downtown Lanesburg, and then a maintenance code was also up there in the list of getting professional help to help develop and see how that could benefit Lanesburg. But like I said, that's also just in the very beginning stages because the application is due in October. And that, I think that we have just under $50,000 left of technical assistance funds, so a good chunk of money.
So all of the things that you mentioned would fall under that grant.
The technical assistant funds would just be the professional services, like, so the marketing and like if we were to pursue a maintenance code.
Okay,
The mural is a different grant.
Crowdfunding grant.
Yeah,
And so one of the things we talked about then was Livia leading a committee for the murals, right? And talked about getting a volunteer from each city council, planning commission, DDA, LBCA, maybe the schools, right? And having a committee formed like that. I don't think we're to the point where we want to necessarily get a volunteer tonight
Hmm,
from this group, but be thinking about it. So,
Sure. Cool.
And the goal of that is to complete that before your time here is
Yeah.
complete, which is like a year.
August, yeah, of 2020.
And we talked about a couple spots on this end of our building where Bonnie Lucille is, maybe doing one on the pharmacy, the side of the building, on Boondocks on the other side there. I think there was another one. But I'm not remembering. Oh, on the other side of our building again, the gray building on the other end.
Okay.
So where Gail had her office, that wall is another spot.
We've discussed the potential for either whether it's one mural or multiple
Right.
murals, and then whether they're art focused or historical or Langsberg, Wolfpack, being
Sure.
a few different routes. So you could really-
Cool.
No, you estimated $16,000 a mural.
The $16,000 was for a 20 by 20 foot mural.
So just give you an idea.
Mhm. Very good. Any more discussion on projects? To property maintenance code.
This is where she would like to have your ideas of what you'd like to see. Property maintenance code.
So you're talking about maybe getting a professional servicing to help with that, with this. I wonder if Mike, since we were talking about, I wonder if he could come in and help us with that.
I'm sure. I know that Paula was already chatting with him about the 226 East Grand River and just getting his opinions on his ideas for use of the building and whatnot. I know that we have a meeting at the end of September to look at how expensive getting a marketing strategy established for downtown, and then I think that determines the company would provide and how expensive, because Paul and I didn't have a good estimate of what the services would cost. But yes, she has mentioned that it would be easiest on everyone to have a professional who knows what they're doing to help establish something for them.
Because I think we're struggling. We all just piped up with all our ideas just now.
Right.
What I kind of felt like this where we had left off is pursuing the route of
Yeah,
professional
okay.
assistance.
Yeah.
In one of our last, the last meeting that we discussed it, so.
Yeah.
I don't have any new ideas to present tonight, to add to it.
My problem with these things is it's pretty standard stuff, no broken windows, keep it clean, keep it neat, but who defines what neat is,
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's where, we have the code for unregistered vehicles.
Mhm.
It can't be parked on your property if it's not
Right.
tagged.
Yep,
And we have I think that the maximum allowable height for grass is 18 inches. I believe we already have that in in what we have. I think that having an example of,
right,
it's pretty standard, and then kind of
right.
picking through it and figuring out what actually works for Lanesburg is,
Yeah,
makes the most sense.
Further discussion?
So can we then maybe, I mean, would it be possible to, in the next packet that we have? It, I don't know if we would have one, you know, I don't want to sift through like the city of Grand Rapids.
Right.
Property maintenance code, but, you know, a community that's similar to our size.
Can you look and
As
see
an
if you can
example.
pull 2 or 3 Langsburg size communities?
Yes.
And then maybe have that for the packet next meeting,
Yeah.
and we can review it.
That's a
Ourselves,
good idea. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, this is
yeah, yeah,
plagiarize.
exactly, yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
no need to reinvent the wheel.
That's right.
that's right, that's right,
Somebody's already done all that work.
right, we'll just make it look how we want it to. All right, so we can revisit that next meeting. Okay. On to the promoting public input survey.
I also have information on that.
Wonderful.
I think it was 3 months ago now that I was tasked with going over the current survey that you all have drafted, or just the general ideas that were put out. I tried to simplify it a little bit, so I have a few questions that I came up with and tried to hone in on the topics a little bit, because it just seemed that every question was asking something different in a way that once you had them answered, it wouldn't give you any information that would be usable. If that makes sense, I think it was too wide reaching. So I'm not sure if you all have a specific goal in creating the survey, or the goal of getting the public input, like if you were trying to specifically get it on housing needs in Langsburg, for example, or the maintenance code, what people's ideas are for something like that, because I think it would be helpful for me to know what you guys are exactly wanting to get out of it. Because like I said, all the questions are kind of scatterbrained right now, and I'm not sure will be all that helpful to you guys if you got them answered and
So-
received and go back.
I'm gonna push back, maybe the wrong term, but a little bit, that I don't know is that we wanna. I don't know is that we're thinking of having a specific, like, we're not looking to do a survey to say. How many more jobs do you think we need? And what type of jobs do you think we need in Langsburg, right? Want to more get a survey out there to say, okay, residents. What would you like to see improved? What would you like to see us focus on? What would you like us? I don't know, maybe that's the focus, maybe I just,
So actual public fee, like,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So I think
direct us, give us.
the way that it was presented was, you know, more, not necessarily looking for direction in a specific project,
Right,
but more just kind of taking the temperature, you
right,
know.
yeah,
Where we
So
sit.
that kind of gives us an opinion of what everybody else wants us to work on. you
Yeah.
know,
yes,
What project do we want to decide to work on, stuff like that. We had gone through this, what, 6, 7 months ago? Did we go through?
Yeah, I mean,
It was a while ago.
I first presented that
Yeah.
when I was in Vernon or Lennon or something like that, and they had it in their town, and I scanned their QR code and found all their questions.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of those questions that we originally presented were really were from that and reworded, you know, to
Yeah,
fit
we
Langsburg, and we
reworded some stuff.
eliminated some that we didn't think were applicable. But I like a lot of how you reworded it, and how you structured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
These, so, but the reason I brought it to the table is exactly what Jeff just said. I mean, what's you, I mean, it wasn't not for a specific project, but just
Mhm.
after the town, and kind of how people are feeling.
so out of the questions that, do you have this sheet in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if it was included in the packet.
Yeah.
Is there any questions that, like specific questions that you have questions about?
Like, do you think that there's a gap in the questions that are currently there, or are you trying to keep it? Cause you obviously don't want it too long, cause people aren't gonna fill out a 5-page survey on their phone, but, if there's just any huge gaps that you think are in the questions that I missed, I would be happy to add, or if you think there's too many of one, that's also fine,
Do you think that there's redundancy in the questions?
I just briefly skimmed over them this morning, and I tried to not, but I can.
So. And I'm just, I mean, thinking off the top of my head, like under maintenance code.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm gonna agree with what I'm gonna say, I'm just kind of using
Okay.
this as an example, right? You ask, do you think that a property maintenance is an issue in Langsberg? Would you like to see a property maintenance code established in Langsberg?
Mhm.
I'm not sure at that point I shouldn't stop. Right, for property maintenance,
Do you think it should stop or it should not stop?
should stop,
It should stop.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that we want to get any more, back to your point of not making it too long,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, the next question is, if yes, what codes would you like to see enforced? So you're saying like eliminate that?
Yes, yes, exactly. Okay, so we get a feel that, yeah, people think that property maintenance is an issue in Langsberg
Mhm.
and that we should have okay, we have a direction to go do that.
Yeah,
right?
we're not asking them to write the code.
We're not asking that, yeah, exactly. And again, I mean, that may be wrong in my thinking,
But
but
if 99% of the people come back and say like, no, we don't need a maintenance code.
we don't need to
Why
make.
are we wasting our time on doing this? Why are we
Yes.
gonna get the resources from a professional to help us when nobody in town
Yes.
wants it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that makes.
Yep. Yep. Now, in the future, if we want to, and I know it's more work, if we wanted to put out a survey that said, okay, maintenance codes,
Mhm.
what would you like to see? You have ideas of what you want to see, then we can get more in depth. Back to what you were saying earlier about a more focused
Mhm.
one, right?
Okay.
It seems like a minimal cost thing to obtain a lot of valuable
Right.
information.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the value in it for sure.
I think it should be a minimal cost thing. I mean,
Right.
I
Yep.
mean, yeah, making a QR code is free.
Yeah.
If that's what you guys.
the survey,
Yeah.
if there's even a cost, it's gotta be minimal and then post it on Facebook. I mean, maybe we don't even need yard signs and all that, like just spread the word and put a deadline on it and get as much feedback as we can. Maybe if we plan it, we can put it in the quarterly, newsletter or whatever from town and the winter update or something like that, and have the QR code there for people to scan.
Any more discussion on the public input survey? Line on here addressing the vacancy in the planning commission. Greenberg's term is ending in November.
Are you a city resident, Roy?
I am, yeah.
You want to join the planning commission?
Let me get back to you on that. I just joined the Lions Club and I got kind of. my
Lions,
hands full,
Lions,
right?
on to the planning.
Got that LBCA. I'm kind of real busy right
Yeah,
now, but
okay.
let me get back to you on that.
How about your wife?
Possibly.
For your mom, for dad.
They don't live in Langsberg.
No.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, so some of the seats can be people that don't live within the city.
Oh, really?
This, no,
But,
this one, yeah.
but this specific one, because of the ratio that we currently have,
Oh,
it has
gotcha.
to be a city resident.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like a good lawyer, I knew the question, the answer before I asked the question, so.
Yeah, I
Not
was,
that I'm a lawyer, but that's the way we say.
I was gonna ask you this one.
Yeah.
The commitment is one meeting a month.
Okay.
And you're here anyways, because of the.
Right.
Sure.
I
I mean, the seats are.
You just, yeah, it's just a simple.
Right, right.
And I thought we had come up with another name. We did, I have to ask Gail, and they were gonna think about it.
I have somebody that I'm trying to
Okay,
get to.
I think Scott was talking and asking if his neighbors as well. And
that's true.
I'm not sure if we heard back, but we've been discussing this for 2 or 3 months now and haven't over, so.
Yeah.
All right,
then it's making some meetings difficult to have meetings. you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true.
Having a full team here would make it easier to keep having meetings. Yep.
Some people didn't like golf on Monday nights. Other people didn't drive trucks.
What do I do now?
Just kidding.
All right. On to zoning ordinance amendments, the marijuana changes.
So just as a reminder, so we've decided to help me out.
Remove the two ordinances and create a new one that combines. the two.
The two different, the recreation and the medical, get rid of those two, combine them into one, right? City council did that for the ordinances, right? Planning needs to do it for the property. It's basically the
Oh,
same thing,
I see,
okay?
yeah, okay.
So wherever it says medical before, yeah, I don't know what they specified, but it's gonna be the combined.
It'll
term.
just be, yeah, same thing, okay.
Shouldn't change any other details. I mean, shouldn't change it from, being within 500 feet of a school to being 1,000 feet of the school,
Yeah.
but
Just change the wording. for the-
changing the wording for that, so.
So is there,
And the schedule here that Paula gave us,
Yes.
city council is very helpful, and it kind of details out like when the press releases would go out. I mean, you would have to open up a public hearing and things.
okay,
So we need to get. I think a motion and approve to have. The city staff put an ordinance. Something in the newspaper. Before the end of the month.
yeah, today.
Yeah.
Okay. And that, so do we have what the proposed, we have what the,
Yeah,
a draft
it's in
of
here.
what the proposed changes
Yep.
are?
Yep.
All of this,
All this, yeah. So on page 12. You can see processor, secure transporter, safe, those all gonna be removed.
Yeah.
Right? I guess this is more getting rid of the other licensing.
I guess I'm confused about, does this differ than the things that were just approved in the city council? Are you saying this is a different ordinance regarding property versus?
Yeah, this isn't the ordinance, this is the property. Change it.
What do you mean by that?
Where these facilities could go.
it's how the land,
Like,
the land use permit.
Yeah.
Language,
So the property can be used for recreational or medicine.
rather than having two separate.
Okay, so it accomplishes the same thing.
Yes.
actually, it's a little bit, looks like it's a little bit different than what I was describing. It's removing the processor and the secure transporter. Out of here. And safety components. So if you go to page 15. At the bottom. It's got section 834 processor, marijuana processor, that's all crossed out and to be removed. And 835 and 836.
And the reason for that is because in all of the presentations that we've had, we haven't. For the processing. And, nobody's been able to, nobody was able to give us a guarantee that they'd be able to mitigate the smell from the process.
Yeah.
So that's why we're just.
And the voters voted to get down to one
that-
license.
Yeah.
And so that eliminates all the other.
So we need to motion to. Schedule public hearing for October 16th, 2023. To approve the changes. To the marijuana zoning ordinances.
Make a motion to make the changes and to move forward with the schedule as planned.
I'll second.
Beautiful.
And that includes putting a notice in the paper.
Yes.
Probably should be using that.
You had to vote on that or?
Yeah, we do, right?
Do we have any more discussion on it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, do we have any more discussion?
I
on-
brought up the vote, we do need to
Yeah.
vote on it.
Yeah.
After I said that, it's like, yeah. I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, all in favor, yay?
I,
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion passes. All right. Any other items?
Paula person,
No.
Paula, yeah,
No training, no training today?
no training.
Well, it looks like you've already decided.
Fantastic.
Anything to add, right?
No.
All right. Well, I will make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
I will second that thing.
Really.
Thank you.